creates a huge difference in terms of technology, data. You're giving him facts instead of saying, hey, it is going to rain tomorrow.
Health hazard is made compulsion by the International Labour Organization as well as in our India.
Talk about technology, and we see the last couple of generations. Technology is the only layer which is very rapidly moving.
People want digital initiatives to be done. They see the benefits, but when it comes to commitment, right? I mean, ROI is nothing but a tangible outcome. And the tangible outcome will come only from a business function head, right?
There are the various aspects of the health hazards. I can share one slide and explain you if you allow me.
Sure.
Okay, I think this is
I
disabled.
have given you the access, sir. You should be
Yeah,
able to.
yeah. So I will explain that occupational health hazard is made compulsion by the International Labour Organization as well as in our India. There is a factory rules are applicable everywhere. As Maharashtra, you see the 1948 factory rule is applicable. So as per that, it is a compulsion of the all contract workmen, regular workmen, officers. They have to undergo the health test because you have to maintain health and then work professionally and comfortably. So during at your working environment, you have to protect differently from your health hazards. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So these are the occupational health hazards. Specifically, when you are working, as I explained that periodical health checkups, plant and personal. So you have to maintain their records as well. This is a compulsion. And these are the different statutory bodies are monitoring. And as far as oil industries, we have been working at oil and gas terminal depots where you are storing petroleum products to deliver at the different retail outlet industries. And specifically to the household customer, there are the LPG bottling plant where you are filling household gas cylinders as well as hotel commercial cylinders. So there is a continuous, you can understand how health hazard is there. You have to lift that heavy 30-40 kg cylinders, and of course that cylinder lifting, shifting gives the body ache to the lifting workman. So you have to rotate them and protect them. As well as we are working in the aviation fueling stations where the aircrafts are arriving at the airports, and within 25 minutes they have to go back to the another destination. So there is a very short of time, and with the running that aircraft noise, heavy noise, that is called tarmac area, our people goes fill the aircraft with 8,000 liters of aviation fuel, what is the required fuel. Another area is lube plant. See, for the every automobile you need the lube oil grease. So that also are being manufactured, producing in our plants. So these are red marks I have given various occupational health hazards. That is number one is heat stress because of the oil temperature and lube temperature, it gets a heat generator over there. So that you have to protect from yourself with the protecting wear and hand gloves, etc., while handling such hot products. Then noise of various oil pumps, compressors, then fire engines at different places. So heavy noise, even our DG generator sets, when power is not there, you are running your industry on the diesel generator sets. So you know that above 85 decibel, it is a heavy noise. You have to protect your ear with the ear muffs and uh, muds. Then vibration is another area because you are handling some of the product while filling and pouring the oil. So you need to protect your body from the vibrations. And then chemical hazards, I explained, toxic fumes are there. So you have to wear the mask. And then biological hazards, because 8 hours continuously you are working, so you need some in between rest. So physical health hazards are there. So you need to protect by checking every regular intervals, periods your body, and maintain your health. As well as because of the you are working in the industry continuously with the pressure, so you get the mental stress while handling your team, people, equipments, automations are there. So you need to very cautious, so that you get the depressions as well, as because of the single working environment. You have nobody to talk during night shifts, so you get the sometime depressions. So that also you need to protect. Then ergonomic hazards, I told that lifting of heavy uh, bottling cylinders, gas cylinders, makes you ergonomic hazards, because regularly you are your some components hand, then waist, and your body posture, that's called gets the hazards that called the MSDS, multi-skeleton disorder. And then last but not least, physiological. It's a hazards, because you are continuously giving your trouble to your body. You are not resting in between because of the continuous working pressure and requirement of the market. So I will come again back to how you have to mitigate if the time permits, and I will give chance to the another panelist. If you have questions from the participant, we'll take at the last, I think so.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Dr. Jadhav. This is actually a very comprehensive, list of hazards that you mentioned, and I think one important key takeaway is, even human stress and mental, condition because of long working hours, etc., can also lead to some of these hazards. So an important point is also to understand how you kind of take care of that aspect of the occupational health. Thank you for sharing that. So moving on to Sunil, because Sunil, I know you come with a very different kind of background, what is your take on how technology per se has evolved, right, to become one of the driving force in improving occupational health or safety practices, right? What role technology is playing in the entire game?
Thanks for the opportunity, Nitin. Yeah, okay. It's a lot of things have moved, right? So, and I would say our generation has been the luckiest to be seeing such a lot of changes. Maybe as I don't want to say my age, but I still have seen a no TV era to flat screen, uh, trunk call taking more than 4 hours to come through with a lightning call, probably happening in 20 minutes to half an hour, to immediate call all over the world. And as the world gets smaller, we also get, I would say. So, but definitely in the realms of occupational health and safety, I would say, I would actually say the assistance of technology, you could probably divide it overall into four. And you could, first thing is, it gives you a lot of transparency. It helps you drive transparency, right? You have CC cameras, you can see what is happening, not only you, your coworker, your superior, your colleagues, and even external. Everybody can see. So transparency that way increases accountability. That's one major change that has happened, I think, through technology. It also helps in providing you with a lot of dashboards and such things where you have data quickly, like within a span of a second, you have the AI throwing up data to you in different manners as to what could happen. Future predictive problems are also analyzed. That's one. Then that's, you could also say it also speeds up the information flow. It I would actually also add on the third part would it actually encourages change management. You see, when a person sees something going wrong, he actually notices something going wrong, and it is visually possible to be analyzed and shown. This actually creates a huge difference in terms of technology, data. You're giving him facts instead of saying, "Hey, it is going to rain tomorrow." Instead of doing that, and when you say that predictability along with data, and when he sees things happening, it is encouraging change management to a great extent, is what I would say. And then, like I said, it it also helps to focus on leading indicators instead of lag indicators, like say trends of, okay, I can notice that towards the evening, from out of my company, in front of the company, you have a lot of people driving wrong side. I'm just giving you examples of how it could happen. So those, I would say, are one way. I till now spoke about data and how to get people acclimatized culture. And one most important thing I think we all would be noticing is we have changed from especially air quality and other quality. You have those wearable sensors which have become so small from those periods where you would be identifying volatile organic vapors using a lot of other things. You have radiation and other things. You wearable devices which are helping us telemedicine in terms of quick first aid. So that's how I would say. And then, yeah, I could say, I could even add drones, which help in reaching places where people have not been able to reach quicker, faster, reactive times. So overall, in EHSSE, I would add that way: environment, social health, security, and environment. These things do help a lot, the advancement of technology. Not taking a long time. I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
No, no, very interesting, Sunil. I think you covered some very important aspect of technology, right? So I also believe that technology helps you act, and you can only act when you start measuring, and you can only
Right.
measure when you start monitoring, right? So what technology essentially enables you to start looking at things, right, which probably never existed in your realm, right? And once you start monitoring those, it becomes easier to take actions and avoid those. Thank you, Sunil, for sharing your views. So moving to Smith, right? Smith, you basically come from an experience within large premises like ports, warehouses, right? So, what is your take on, how technology, maybe some examples of different type of technologies that you have seen, are currently being utilized to enhance safety in some of the ports or warehouse sort of operations?
Yeah, hi, thank you for giving an opportunity. So, yeah, technology actually is one of the 5 layers which I preach for any solution to the problem. That problem can be either safety and security, what we are discussing right now. So these 5 layers includes the infrastructure layer, which is a physical infrastructure like lane marking, lockout, tagout type uh, physical infrastructure. Second is your process which you laid, like, okay, you need to have a safety permits and those regulations around enforcing the safety rules. Third is your people. The people, like maybe a safety inspector and maybe your own people who are trained. Like today, one of the things which is very common, we see that you are responsible for your own safety, so please take care of and compliance the rules and all. Then is the yeah.
Can I
So
request everyone to put their screen on mute, please? Yeah.
so like I was explaining about the 5 layers. So people, process, infrastructure, and one of the four that 5 layers is now a technology layer. Now, if we talk about technology and we see the last couple of generations, technology is the only layer which is very rapidly moving. I think Mr. Sunil had explained the era our generation has seen, like from the no TV to flat TV and practically TV in our palms now. And we all have seen, I think, whosoever is attending this event now, I have seen that era where the technology is moving at a very rapid pace. Now, this technology has actually added a great value not only to safety security but everywhere else. So, coming to safety, I think which is applicable for even other business use cases as well, is technology has some life cycle. So when it is in the R&D stage or the beta stage, and then comes to the maturity, and then it has phase out stage. So I would like to say that I have seen some good examples of implementation of safety technology, which is specific to your question now. Like today, the computer vision has actually improved the safety a lot. The normal cameras was developed around maybe almost like 60 years back, when the first time somebody wanted to monitor the jet propulsion from the rocket. That was the first time when the cameras were invented for remote monitoring, and that's why it is known as closed circuit television. Because human was not possible to be present at that high temperature point, so they deployed the cameras. Now, in last 5-6 years, if you have seen the best trend, the camera has become a sensor. The camera has become a new sensor. So if I use the right phrase, the camera has become the new sensors. And why that? Because the camera has been added with the artificial intelligence. You can use the same technology for PPE detection. I think before starting of the event, there were some videos we were seeing playing. So you can use it for helmet detection, the overall the safety gears, your goggles, and maybe your gloves, wherever it is possible and required, you can deploy that model, and the camera will become your sensor, eyes and ear, to actually show. Pedestrian safety, very common issue. What we have seen in the accidents, I think I'll refer to your pyramid, like the number of violations are more and fatality is one, but those violations can be tabbed with that volume only when you have a suitable technology to detect every event which is happening. Yeah, in a recent, I think Mr. Sunil has mentioned, the wearable has become really a very low cost technology. Like we all are wearing some smart watches today, and these watches comes with plenty of sensors. And I would like to proudly say that recently we have developed one such sensor for our people, and that idea came from one of the very large scale steel industries in India, 2016, when they deployed just for in getting the cardiac arrest. I think one of the risk or the health hazard Mr. Ramdas has mentioned is about the Dr. Ramdas has mentioned about the stress. So that stress leads to cardiac arrest, which is very common. Even the younger generations are getting into it. So your wearable device can track those abnormalities of the heartbeat and can alert, and you can save the person in the golden hour. Uh, those sensors can also be used for your heat stress, your chemical exposures, your falling down. Accelerometer and gyro in those wearable devices are actually adding a great value. And this, I have reality, we implemented this in a very recent one and quite successful. We were able to not only get the operational use cases that the person is present in a particular area for the work, but not also for the safety and security, use cases, as I was explaining. If the person is sleeping somewhere, you can find out with the data coming from your variable. The another one which we used for not only operations but safety as well is tabbing the CAN data from the equipment. Like equipment accidents are very common in the industries. So people and vehicle conflict is very common. So overheating, getting into the fire is very common. So like everyone in India especially wants to utilize the equipment over, and they don't want to spend on the maintenance cost for, of course, the one reason, higher profitability. So what we have done is, now in last 10 years, one more trend what we have seen is the vehicles have started becoming intelligent. So vehicles are intelligent in the way that there is a CAN data. You can tab 550 plus data from the vehicle, whether it is higher temperature, or whether the person who is wearing the seat belt or not, whether the wiper is used when the requirement is there, whether the headlight is on and working when it is required. So all those, whether he's following the speed norm, again, so all those are actually contributing factors towards the technology. And some of this, or majority of this, we have recently experienced in the project recently done for the implementation of improving the safety along with the productivities.
Thank you, Smith. I think you harped upon a very important point, that early detection is the key, right? So whether it's in terms of detecting through some of the sensors, wearable sensors, or either detection through some technology which can help you identify whether things are working properly or not. So I think early identification can really lead to avoidance of some of these incidents. Thank you, Smith, for sharing. So moving on to Satish ji, right? And Satish ji, because you come with a very diversified background of a sugar industry, turbine industry, right? So my question to you is, and I know you are always in lookout of new technologies that can help you improve safety or other aspect within the workplace. So what are some of the important aspects that you look into a particular technology, before you start or thinking about adopting a new technology to enhance safety in the workplace?
Sure, Nitin. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. It's pleasure being on this platform. Uh, I listen to everyone, and I'm just trying to collate those thoughts. So I'm reiterating one thing: what gets measured gets improved, right? I mean, that was one of the themes. I think Nitin, you mentioned about it. I'm going one step further. What gets digitized gets transformed, right? So the whole question here is what? So the first consideration for me in embarking on any digital transformation is what is the problem statement that we are trying to solve, right? Otherwise, you might end up having a big elephant in the room when it is not needed. And when I say big elephant, it means, if I don't know the problem statement, I might end up over designing, over engineering the digital solution, thereby the cost going up. So first consideration and obvious consideration is problem statement. Second, most important consideration is the ROI, right? Return on investment. I mean, uh, lunches are not free, and so is money is not free in an organization, right? Uh, because any IT intervention or digital intervention, we are taking money straight out of the net profit from the balance sheet, right? Which is like you're eating the cream away. So obviously, the return on investment plays a big role. So we should be very clear as to, okay, this is the digital initiative I'm trying to do. This is the problem statement I'm trying to solve. And because of these are the benefits I'm going to derive. If you don't put this up front, maybe the project uh, uh, may not be successful, right? So I think that is a second consideration. Third consideration is compatibility. So many technologies. I think Smith touched upon, the technology evolution that's been happening, and it's a journey. It will keep happening. Similarly, I think Sunil also touched upon new technologies coming into play. Now, with these newer technologies coming into play and the ecosystem that you have in the house, when I take a new technology into my house, I need to ensure that they're compatible, right? They should be able to talk to each other. So I think I would pay, or rather, most of the organization would pay and heed to: is this technology welcome into my organization, and will it fit the entire ecosystem, in a harmonized way? That is the third consideration. Fourth consideration, I'm just focusing on the important consideration. There are many other considerations, and depending upon the industry, depending upon the nature and culture, the things will change. But the fourth important consideration will be the culture management, change management, which is leading to the digital adoption, right? Because say you had a good problem statement, you had a good ROI, you had a good technology, right? Everything is good. What if the people are not adopting it, in the fashion they should be doing it? So understanding the culture, understanding the change that a person will have to go through is equally important, because otherwise it will be like this, right? operation is successful, but the patient died, right? So what's the point? So I think these are my views. Of course, the views might change from industry to industry, from a person to person. But I think these are the four major considerations any organization or any digital evangelist will always look into.
Very interesting, Satishji. And I think you kind of touched upon a very important point of change management. I also feel that many a times when you say that technology actually didn't work, many a times it is to do with the adoption within the organization than to do with the technology per se, the value that it can derive. So can you maybe quickly touch upon one or two instances, where you feel the change management can really be a hindrance for the technology adoption, and how organizations can kind of come over that?
It's a tough question, Nitin, because change management is a art. It's not a science, right? It's not
Yeah.
like 1 + 1 = 2. So the recipe, it's a magical recipe, right? I mean, how much you have to put of what, that only the organization and the person knows. But I will touch upon few things like first and foremost, uh, new technology, new digital means my job is gone, right? I mean that's a very humble statement or a humble opinion from a person where you're going to put digital upon. So how do you tackle that? I mean, the way you need to tackle that is first, it goes back to the problem statement, what you're trying to solve. Is it really going to do that? And nail it out, I mean, completely. And then have a very open discussions on the purpose of your digital intervention and how it is going to enable that. There has to be a very clear cut open dialogue, nothing hidden agenda. And many times I have seen the moment you adopt such kind of an art, it's an art, okay? It's not straightforward. I have seen the people coming forward in making the implementation successful. They go above and beyond in collaboration and cooperation during the execution part. So I think the digital awareness, with being very transparent with the goal of that digital initiative and involving the senior management right up front, right? Because no matter what you say or what we do, there is a hierarchical organization in every organization, right? Uh, we can say it's an open door policy, whatever. But when the boss says something, the subordinate at least has to listen to it, right? So in such a hierarchical organization, wherever it is, it's better to align the top leadership as well into the goal. So I mean, another thing is ROI, right? I mean, people want digital initiatives to be done. They see the benefits, but when it comes to commitment, right? I mean, ROI is nothing but a tangible outcome, and the tangible outcome will come only from a business function head, right? So he has to sign up saying that, oh, this is going to save so many hours in operation, for example. When it comes to that signing, a person will take a step back. Am I overcommitting? Will I be under the radar? Etc. etc. Again, there, when you are doing a tangible calculation, be very scientific about it. Don't be artistic about it. Where you involve that person in calculating the benefit. You can't say that I have calculated benefit. Hey, now you come and sign it. That way you won't get a buy. I mean, these are some illustrations. And again, I would like to leave a note saying that it's one size fits all is not the mantra for this. It's a recipe management of dealing with culture. So it will change from place to place, organization to organization.
Very well said. I think it's all about expecting, managing the right expectations, right? So
Yeah,
so so maybe, Sunil, because, I know you have implemented tons of technologies, right, in your career. So, just to get a perspective from you, right, what do you feel are some of the common barriers within the organizations, when it comes to adopting new technologies, right? And especially if you can touch upon, maybe since we are talking about safety today, right? Maybe you can talk about adopting some of the safety technologies.
Yeah, will do, Nathan. Yes, yeah. So while I restrict myself on safety, let's first of all cover areas, or I would say, where are the barriers? What are the misconceptions that happen? So one of the what, like Mr. Satish was saying, what clearly it seems to be is. When you initiate changes, or like say for example wearing a mask or putting on a helmet, it's the first resistance that comes out is a perceived lack of time, right? I specify or would like to highlight a perceived lack of time, because when you actually start doing it, it's not lack of time, it's more of that sense of wanting to adjust towards that particular change. So it's what we have to be doing is we'll have to be showing examples, we'll have to be creating like how things can change, if and it's not actually going to be stopping you on it's not going to be long wearing a safety gown or a harness. The first reaction which comes out from workers or from others would be, hey, I don't have time for it, I will lose my productivity time or whatever it is. That was one. And then the okay, one very important thing I've noticed whenever we are implementing changes is what I would actually call as change fatigue. Because there are companies or there are places where suddenly somebody comes in and you implement these changes, and it all boils down to that particular workman, whether it is a construction worker, whether it is a factory worker, whether it is a food processing industry worker. There is a typical problem where he feels, यार ये लोग आते हैं. I'm assuming that most of, sorry, I have others who might not know Hindi, so I would use the this thing. So it would be like people come, they suggest something, and then they go away. I'm the one who keeps doing it frequently. So that's that change fatigue where the person, just for you, he would want to do it, and then he would want to shift back to whatever he is more comfortable with. And these, and I would not call it the later portion. Most importantly, it is communication. Communication is the barrier. You're not listening to your people. You're only telling your people as to what needs to be done. You're not listening from them as to what is the challenge. It could be, I could quote an experience from a food industry where it's important that you have to have hairbands and the covers on the head. And if it's a food processing industry, you can't have your bindis. So women employees, especially south or whatever, they would say, no, I cannot remove my bindi, I cannot move my kumkum out. So, but then how do you communicate? You need to have a lady person saying that this is inside the processing plant. You're not being looked at by others. It's only different ways to communicate. So it's important that communication helps people adapt. So that's the third process. And last of all, you could also say one of the biggest barrier is this guy reliable? Is this whatever is being told to me, is it reliable? Is this harness reliable? So that could be another area. So these would, I would say, are just 3 or 4 areas where I have personally noticed barriers, and I was just summarizing it into small examples and highlighted points. That's it. Thank you.
Interesting. So communication is the key, right? So you have to communicate properly. And I think that's what
And
Satish was
repeat it.
also referring to, right? So how do you make this communicated properly to the down to the level from, in the hierarchy, so that person at the ground level also understand the importance of these things, right? Yeah. Thank you, Sunil. So Smith, you
Thanks.
kind of spoke about, how technology is evolving, and you actually gave some very good examples of how technology is changing this entire landscape, right? So what are some of the recommendations that you would give to organization so that it ensures that their safety practices remain effective, right? Because the technology is changing every day. So how do you make your safety practices remain effective?
Yeah, I think the catching word here is changing every day. So something which is dynamic and changing every day, technology, if you have to catch with it, that's something which is most problematic thing. Specifically, I have been working with certain government organizations also. So I've seen, like, by the time the tenders comes out, the technology is selected, the bidding completed, and by the time it is implemented, it is obsolete. I've seen certain such examples. So I think with the industries, the situation remains the same with the large organization. They also behave sometimes like in government organization. The process is very, very slow. Decision making takes its own time. So I think the first and the foremost point in technology, which I think is little bit resonate with what Satish ji has mentioned, is that if the technology is matching your 60% of the requirement, 60%, I think that's the benchmark somewhere we should keep. And it is agile. You can tweak it quickly. Go for it. Don't wait for it. Otherwise, technology will change. That's something we need to catch it up. The second thing is, basically, when you are adopting the technology, you should be able to find out whether the technology is at what stage of the life cycle it is right now, whether it is coming up to the maturity, it is already matured, has a proven background. Like today, if we talk about RFID as a technology, it is well proven. You don't have to think about it. It is well proven, and it is still available as one of the use case if we talk about for the safety. But now ultra wideband is something which is coming up for proximity detection. The person coming close to the machine, system can recognize whether he's my right operator or not, or whether he's the person who is not supposed to be close to the machine. So ultra wideband is something coming up now. So these are the two examples which I'm giving with respect to the adoption of the technology. The third is basically very, very important, is mobility. That's changing very, very fast. Now, if you talk about the 5G is already there, we have 5G, but whether the industry's 5.0 is on 5G, the answer is no in India. I think I don't know any industries in India who is using 5G network or private network for that matter. But that's something which is have definitely a life to go to the maturity scale. So that is something which technology coming on 5G can be easily adopted. I think drones was touched about. Drones has touched his maturity stage again, which can be taken into the consideration. Drone adding with camera is already proven its benefit. Somewhere the point was where it cannot go was also human cannot go, drone can go, was also touched upon during the discussion. But I have seen practically, I think around 5 years back, we deployed the drones in one of our large site, and we've seen that it's not only the human cannot go and drone can go, but even it is a matter of surprise. So sudden attack and then some unsafe practices can be caught. The another thing which is improving in the technology is touchless, and we all have seen the need of it during the recent pandemic, where the technologies which requires the touch and like lift button operations. So it has to be touch based, sensor based, well mature. We can easily use it. I think artificial intelligence used for the big data analytics was also something which was there. And I'll take a little bit back step on where the safety at the back end you can improve with this. So broadly, there are two stages of any operations: is planning and execution. And now the third stage, which is added, is planning, execution, and analysis. The result of analysis goes back to the planning. So if your analysis says that these are the events where the accidents are possible, incidents are possible, you will be able to predict those well in advance, that these are the cases where accidents, incidents are possible. Perhaps you can take that into the planning, and then execution will become more smoother. So this is possible when your data capturing is very clean. And today, with mobility coming up, data capturing from every nook and corner is possible. So sometimes, like, cameras can increase your visibility, sensors can increase your visibility and presence. So that way, the more data gathering will give you more chances and ability to do the big data analysis and further improve your prediction model, analysis model. I think the end stage of this is auto planning, where you don't have to plan anything for safety. Based on the previous incident, your safety practices are already laid. You just define the job, that this is the job you want to do. Based on previous historical incidents, events, and the risks, the trends, the system automatically give you the checklist that these are the points you need to take care in safety. That's the maturity stage. I think technology can bring that today when the AI has become mature. And the last point, I think, which is important for the safety to be implemented, as I think, again, to resonate with what Mr. Satish has mentioned is recurring cost. So when you are adopting the technology, one of the most important thing to take care is what is the cost of maintaining it, what is the cost of taking it further, what is the cost of scalability of this, because everything is business here. Like if you are talking about anything on safety, then no one want to spend. Let's be very honest on this. Like especially in India, I have seen this pattern that okay, if you want to spend money for life saving, people will have some hesitation. It's a very sorry state, but it's a fact. Uh, I think I will like to share my best practices to again to conclude my discussion here. That what I've tried to do in last many years, that rather than the cost coming onto the head of safety managers or security managers for that matter, the cost should become a part of the operation. So the cameras, and today I think is the best time for it. The cameras are very well used for operation. If you go 10 years back, the cameras are only for security and safety. Cameras are not there for operation. But today, the same camera can be used for operations and the same camera can be used for safety. So I think that way I could like to conclude that these are the things which organization to keep in mind when they are approaching towards the latest technologies.
Great points, Smith. Thank you for sharing that. Keeping cognizance of the time, before we open up for audience questions, I would request, Dr. Jadhav, because he to spend a couple of minutes maybe explaining. You kind of explained very nicely on different aspects of safety, right? That you would look at. Can you also kind of spend few minutes talking about how technology-driven approach can help in, occupational health and safety? I think you wanted to spend some time on the same.
Yeah. 2 minutes I will take further. And thank you, Bhateji and Satishji and Sunilji, for telling the total aspects of the today's scenario on the artificial AI aspects. I will give a small example in implementation of this technology in our industry, oil and gas industry. See, majority of the oil and gas terminals are located nearby the railway lines or nearby the refinery. Nowadays, all these products are being transferred through rail earlier to the nearest locations. Otherwise, nowadays all underground pipelines have been laid, and through that pipeline it has been got transferred. But ultimately, this delivering to the customers means a retail outlet. In India, we call it petrol pumps. So you need vehicles. So from that terminal, these vehicles fills or receive the fuel, and 20 liter, 24,000 liter, or whatever their vehicle capacity, they bring and deliver it to the our retail outlets. These are situated right from 30, 50, 40, 50 kilometers to 200, 300 kilometers. Similar way, our bottling plants are situated across the country, but you need to deliver them, these cylinders, to the city or nearby villages, taluka places. So that you need again vehicles. So we have around 55,000 plus vehicles, trucks, tankers, and these cylinders delivering vehicles, as well as LPG gas are being needed to the transport from the refinery or from the seaports to the bottling plants, because they have to ultimately receive in their tank and then compress it and further fill it into the small cylinders. So all the time I am talking about the media of the transportation is tank trucks. So you need the monitoring of these trucks, because you are delivering or transporting this highly explosive material. So you need to the uh, transport in a very safety manner, rather very high and security manner, because any incidents, uh, your public is involved, and if any it happens, it can explode and damage all properties and our surrounding populations also. So we have implemented the vehicle tracking system into it, So whatever the receiving point, delivering time, it is monitored, and we have implemented the speed regulators also. So within 40 to 60 kilometer maximum speed they have to drive, and if they cross, then some pop-up alarm will come to their transporter as well as the location in charge. So accordingly, if three times certain things are happened, where punishing these drivers for the crossing the speeds, or sometimes if they do not adhere the timings, or they divert their standard route, then we are blacklisting for some time period, because it is punishable, because they have to go with their monitored or given route only, because of the safety of the product and safety of the people. As well, we are given inputs to this driver, that pop-up system, if the any dangerous route is coming ahead, some turfs are there, hilly area is there, some hospital or school is there, so pop-up will come that after certain period of, there will be school, there will be hospital. So these are helpful to the driver. As well as now the further system we are incorporating, as our Bhatia ji told, that we are putting camera into that. If that driver is not having proper rest, he is feeling sleepy, or his eyes are blinking, or he is not concentrating on driving, he is talking on mobile, like that all signals will receive to the monitoring system, so that the so further alert will go to the driver that you are not concentrating driving. So don't use mobile, or you are feeling slippery, stop the vehicle. Somewhere we have banned night driving also. Night 10 a.m. to morning 6 a.m. No driving will be there. So driver will have proper rest. So these are the mitigations also measures we have taken along with the AI system. And in our refineries also, as you said, without wearing PPE, the person cannot enter. It will give alarm that you are not wear your helmet, or you are not wear your shoes, like that. So these are new systems have been come. And also, where are the location you are working in a critical areas where you are issuing work permits. So that work permits has we have kept the locks, because unless the situation has been not inspected for the hazardous area, not mitigation is taken, like all proper care has to be taken, working on height, or working in the interiors area inside the tank, lighting is there, requirement is there. So while issuing this work permit system, these have been made through SAP system automation. Unless the situation or actual site has been inspected, further permit will not be approved, like that. Or your site has to be inspected for the toxic gases, because explosive gases, if they are above the permit level, certain spark or welding will explode the surrounding area. That lock system has been also implemented. And normal mitigation, I will share that what hazards we have seen, and what arrangement now we are giving, that I will share with you. I think, yeah, I'll put it on PowerPoint.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is for all the participants. If you have any questions, meanwhile, you can just type them down on chat, because we are running a little ahead of time.
Yeah. This is control, monitoring, and mitigation of occupational health hazards. As we are seeing, AI technology is there, but parallel to that, basic things has to be there. So how we are monitoring of our noise level at workplaces regularly? We are having decibel meter. So, and PPA, as everyone know, that we are been providing earplugs, earmuffs. to the employees. And even for the health hazards, we are keeping our all drinking water testing as per the BIS standard, and maintaining records also. And for the foods also, because third thing they like that every person needs air, food, and water. Three things are the basic things. So we are maintaining hygiene index at our canteens also. We are monitoring our regular visiting of medical doctors. They come, they visit, they check the all the health parameters they have maintained at the canteen also. And also through the regulatory bodies, we are maintaining consent to operate for air and water also. That is monitoring of digital emission discharge, which is a pollution control body, comes and quarterly they checks and maintains also. And our every location submits environmental statement for every financial year ending, that is 31st March. Within a next 6 months before end of September, they submit the to the authorities. Oil waste also we are maintaining for the any spillage of oil or any uh, pollution of the water also. As I told that vibration monitoring of the rotating equipment, there we are regularly monitoring, measuring. And then thermography of the equipments we are doing and taking corrective actions wherever temperatures are going beyond the parameters. And as
Sure.
I told that ensuring TT crew is a tank truck crew drivers, contract workmen, do not work more than 48 hours in a week, or not more than 9 hours. This is a compulsion by the Factory Act that has to be given rest for the seventh day. As we know that Sunday or any weekday, they will have the off day. And ensuring MSDS of the product. There's a material safety data sheet everywhere are being displayed. If any hazard is there, fire hazards, they are being taken care. And what's do's and don'ts, boards are displayed. So people are taking care accordingly. So these are
Thank you.
the
Thank you,
next
Dr. Jadhav.
periodic medical
Yeah.
examination everywhere being taken. Health checkup are being doing at the locations. Medical doctors regularly visit, and we are running campaigns. Right side, you must be seeing the state-wise data for the uh, test we have carried out
So
about the.
this is really helpful, Dr. Jadhav. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So I think keeping sense of time, we can take few questions, right? Rashmi,
Definitely.
if you can, I can see some questions on the screen. So if you can pick up the right ones and target it to the right panelist.
Sure, Nitin. So we have a question from Sohan Pal Yadav. Do you think, considering the risk and stress, organization must think on 5-day working to ensure work-life balance in India? Mr. Sunil, would you like to answer this one briefly?
Interesting question. Work-life balance, 5-day week. See, I would say technology to a large extent has helped work-life balance, just the way a lot of people say it is spoiled work-life balance. You have your boss calling you at any time, but at the same time, you can also call your wife or daughter at any time, right? So that's the way. And when we look at 5-day week, it's something which we will have to talk about based on the industry and based on the requirements. Now, how can you expect a pilot or an air hostess to have something called a 5-day week? Similarly, how can you expect somebody in the emergency services not to come back even on his off day if there is an emergency requirement? So I would rather leave it that work safety is more about awareness and culture. It need not necessarily be about, and like we always say, stress and such things are more of what we think is stress, not what we are given as stress. That's the way I would put it. I do not know whether this has satisfied the person who asked me the question, but I was just sharing my views.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank
Rashmi, I can see a question from Bhagyashri to Mr. Smith, if you can.
Yeah, is HSE protocols a common practice in your organization, and does it require significant ongoing effort to uphold these standards? Mr. Smith, this question is directed to you.
I'm working currently with the DP World, which is a global port and logistic organization. I've even worked for 13 years with Reliance Refinery, and I've seen almost similar practices or similar attention from the management, considering, because today what is happening is the HSE policies is basically the straight away hits the brand image to the organization. Any incident happening, it gives a dent to the brand image, and when especially you are a multinational organization, you will like that your customers are satisfied with your safety practices, that you are not unsafe to do a partnership with. And the efforts are there, both from not only from the keeping the employees motivated to follow the practices and procedures, but also to implement the technology for these practices. I think in last 2 years we have worked a lot to improve through the technology these practices. So the answer is basically yes. It requires significant efforts, but the only thing is now the team who was putting the efforts has changed. Earlier it was the ground force, the safety inspectors and the supervisors who was doing the job, but now in last 5-6 years we have seen the trend has changed, that some responsibility of this has come to the technology players also to take a load of improving the safety.
Thank you so much. So it's 5:15 already. I think we can skip the rest of the questions, but I will definitely stay in touch with all the participants who had these questions and answer them separately. It was really a pleasure to have you all here with us today. Especially the discussion was very insightful. Dr. Jadhav, Mr. Sunil, Mr. Bhatia, Mr. Patil, everybody. All your views and opinions have really, enlightened us. And it's great to see how organizations are embracing the emerging technologies and are, all geared up to start using newer technologies to improve health and safety. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you all the participants to join us today.
Thank you, Dr. Jadhav. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Smith. Thank you, Satishji.
Thank
We
you so
had
much.
really good interaction. Looking forward to more in future. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.